Yo, what's poppin', guys? We have cooked Zefra Mitsurugi, infinite pushing power. We're gonna be playing through 3 hand traps here with this hand, and we're gonna pop off. I got a bunch of replays. Make sure you stay tuned till the end to also see the deck list, and I hope you guys enjoy. I think this variant is pretty sick. So we're counting Maxi as the first hand trap, even though we ashed it, because this is a deck building diff. Making sure to keep the motorbike for later here, in case they ash the Benkei. And now here, I'm getting a trigger for Imperm Veiler. So I want to go into Beyond the Pendulum to bait it out. It's questionable if I should bike first. So the thing is, if I bike first, then they know I already have a high scale, but I feel like they still have to negate this anyways. And if they don't negate it, then I'd have to pend out the bike instead of my Wakaushi, which is kind of awkward. So that's why I have to do it this way, but there's also argument to be considered to do it the other way around. So we're gonna pend out all the guys in our hand here, and I'm getting another trigger. I'm not sure if it's Nib. I think I was thinking it was Nib or something, so I wanted to just Gallant Grant it. Maybe it was an Imperm. It's a pretty good bait, in my opinion. Now I have a Nib instead of Zephyr because I can't use it anymore. In case something goes wrong, that I at least have that to stop them from going for like a lethal push. I'm gonna go for the Fiendsmith line here, and they are going to Imperm to keep me off the Engraver. Which, little they know, I actually do not care about this at all, because I don't require Engraver for my Fiendsmith lines. So now we have 3 Light Fiends in Graveyard, and we have a Light Fiend and another guy on field, so Sequence can shuffle back these 2 dudes to go into the Fusion Lacrima, which in my lines always actually summons back level 4 Lacrima here. Well, not always, but if I'm trying to bridge, it does. Because if I go for the Lina here, I can re-equip the Sequence from the graveyard and then sack these 2 guys off to make the Chorozo for King of the Feral Imps. And now they're on 2 cards. We have Habakiri and Nibiru, and they are absolutely cooked. GG. Alrighty, here we're going to be playing against Stun, so they have no hand traps. And I'll just be showing off essentially what like a full combo could look like that we're doing. And we even get to open 2 hand traps here. Yeah, an extender, a break, a starter. So average hand quality, pretty nice. We're just going for the Mitsu line here on the Knight, Sword, Serpent as our Sen, because we want to make some rank 4s here. Gonna grab back the Ritual, sack this off, and now we get to have a Murakumo on field the entire time. So if they want to hand trap us, they're gonna have to lose 2 cards from their hand, making it less enjoyable for them to actually interact with us here. I'm gonna bring it right back. Boom, and now we go Gallant Granite for the Zephyrath here. This is what the line is normally gonna be like. That's gonna get us our first Pendulum. Now we can link these guys off for the Moon into Requiem. Tribute this off to get another level 4. And now with this one, we're actually going to access our second Pendulum monster, which, jump scare, it's the Cum Giant. And this thing is just going to become our low scale. Yeah, kind of awkward, but hey, I mean, it works. Plus it has a nice secret effect, which I'll show you off in like a minute, I guess. Gonna go ahead and grab our counter trap here. And now Engraver's gonna come back. So we can use this to make our Requiem, our Sequence. I always confuse the names even after all this time. And now we can Lacrima. And since we're using this for our endboard, we're bringing back Engraver. If we're using it to bridge, we bring back the Lacrima. It's going to go and make the High King Caesar. Now we can link these 2 guys off into an IP. And now we're going to use the IP and our Fiend Monster Sequence here to make the about 2, I guess. Bless you. Pitch the Dead Habakiri we don't care about. And that'll bring back the IP and come back during the end phase. Now, secret effect of the Cum Giant actually equips itself as a material to the not even soft 1s per turn. There's just no 1s per turns on this thing. So now we get 3 summon negates. That's crazy. And then we bring back the Abao. So we have pitch a card for a pop. We have Murakumo for the negate. We can sack it off to grab some more cards in hand, and to bring this back for the Raigeki. The IP gets to pop off as well, go into an SP or something when we like spent the stuff. This can also, remember, after we tribute this guy, he'll come back and we can revive one of these dudes, right? We'll just link that off the IP. We have 3 summon negates on the Caesar. We have the Divine Strike here, and if something goes wrong, like we really want to resolve this, but they the gate, I don't know, this guy's affecting the graveyard. They have like Ghost Spell, so we can't bring back Murakumo. We can also just sack this thing off to summon it back again, board wipe them, right? If that's going to be like winning in that game state. So ton of disruptions, not much they could do, and they just surrender instantly because they don't want to play this out. Oh, what's that? You want me to play through multiple hand traps again? Don't worry, boys. And I think I have like 1 female viewer actually, judging by the statistics. Well, you ask, so I shall deliver. Gonna go ahead and lead with the Fiendsmith line because it's super non-committal. And they're gonna Ash the Tract. Oh no, anyways, Saji plus Murakumo is actually just full combo. Very convenient. So we're gonna go ahead, slap down our potential Omni Negate, send the Night Sword Serpent, which is a water, so he's gonna have to hit the wrong guy. And now I want him to, I don't think they should discard a card here, but they do anyways because they really want to get out the Jewess Worm. There's also some optimizations I could be making here. Let us put it that way. For example, I should not use the effect of Murakumo to blow this guy up, because if he sends one of my level 4s, I am cooked. Fortunately, they don't know how to play the game properly, and they hit the wrong guy, and now we get to search for our Zefrath. So better lucky than not lucky, I guess, and never punished. Now we're going to bring this back. We'd prefer to make another rank 4 here. And fortunately enough, we can, because Habakiri can just attribute off the guy that doesn't have a level. And now we can go into Mr. Cum Giant. And unfortunately, I'm a dumbass. I should just put this guy in the scale, put the Zefrath in the scale, and then we penned out Zefranu plus the couplet. And then we have an extra Habakiri on field. And when we go into our Fiendsmith combo at the end, we get to attach the Cum Giant to the Caesar. Now, for some godforsaken reason, I instead opt to just make Beyond the Pendulum here and then search for a high scale, because Zefrath gets negated, and that way we can just get out only the Zefranu. Yeah, I'm not really sure about what I was thinking here. Like, I feel like this could have been like at least 2 more disruptions. But I mean, they're on 3 cards. It doesn't really matter that much. We have like 2 Omnis, a board wipe, and the Caesar here. Because remember, when they have no cards left in hand, Murakumo is just an Omni Negate because they cannot discard. So that's, of course, very convenient. Right here, slap this down. Boom. And we also have the Ash in hand, which is very handy because we're going to be using it on their Foolish Burial here. 2 cards left. They're going to summon this guy, and you see I respond here because this is a ignition effect and not a trigger effect. So it needs to be in an open game state where they activate it, but I have priority for quick effects after they pass the prio on summon. This isn't Edison format, so toggle on, and you shall be rewarded. We'll blow this up. They can't use the card in the hand because Murakumo would negate it, and even if, like, for some reason they had something else, I still have Divine Strike. They're cooked. Now, Wotan, what does the deck do if your opponent resolves a Maxi or a Charmy? Well, this replay is to show you guys exactly what you should be doing. So they're going to activate Fuelos Might Be Hated. And now we're going to try to still set up a board that is competent enough to stop multiple pushes, because most decks can't just infinitely keep pushing. They have a finite amount, no matter how many cards are in their hand. So none of these actually give draws because they're all summons from the hand or from the pen zone or something. I'm going to make King of the Feral Imps as our first summon that gives a draw. Go for the Habakiri. Now, this line will also give them 1 more draw, because actually 2 more, because we summon Saji from deck and we summon Murakumo from deck. But at least we get like the pseudo negate. That'll at least have them discard another card, so they'll go have less advantage than otherwise, right? So I still think that's worth it. We're gonna go for that here, fire it off, grab the Murakumo, add back all of these guys. Boom. Now we're gonna go for Gallant Granite. I still feel like, especially since we have the Zefranu in hand, we can pen summon this from the hand if we get to Zefrath and not from the extra deck. So it only gives them one draw for this line, and we get an Omni counter trap, which is pretty good. Now they're gonna think their hand is cracked enough and opt to just let the Maxi get negated. That's pretty convenient, honestly. Now I'm sending this guy because he's the other high scale I'm running. I can summon this from hand for 0 draws on the Fuelos. Set Divine Strike, set the prayers, and then we have an IP with our extra body to go into an SP, and then we end our turn here. So what disruptions do we have? We have more Kumos, like discard or negate thing, which has less value because they have 9 cards in hand here. We have the board wipe off of Murakumo, we have an Omni negate, we have an IP, we have the SP, and we have a Nibiru here. So we're going to go ahead and just top deck the Imperm on the IP. That's annoying. We're going to just chain it so we at least have the SP, and they're going to pitch 3 cards here for the droplets, including a trap. They drew this thing, the Silvera, I think it's called. Yeah. So I can't actually chain stuff to his Diabell Star or Sinful Spoil stuff, except my counter trap, of course. So he's getting rid of the Omni Negate for now. Talents to draw 2. I think this is worth hitting. Like, he's not taking any of my cards, which means he probably doesn't have a play, honestly. I feel like you should know that I have the prayers because I searched for it, and that I can just sack off Murakumo. So you should be taking here. But then again, if you're taking, maybe I just sack this off anyway so he can't get it, blow up his board again. It's kind of hard to say. So I decided to just negate this. I feel pretty confident here. I still have like the full Murakumo to deal with. And now they're going to normal summon the A Stellar. Again, this is also an ignition effect, not a trigger effect. So we're going to go ahead and sack this off. And unfortunately for our opponent, they're naming intelligence Karl Marxi, goated name. Unfortunately, far outweighs their Yu-Gi-Oh! Intelligence, and they hit the prayers, which does absolutely nothing, and not the Murakumo, which does absolutely blowing up their entire field and giving me essentially another Omni Negate for the last card in hand because they can no longer discard. All right, for our last duel, remember we're going to want to use the Charmies and the Maxi in the standby phase because this covers up the fact that you have Droll or you don't have Droll. It's a slight min-max. There's no reason, like there's no real difference between using it in the draw phase or the standby phase. But if you use it in the standby phase, you could potentially chain Droll to something that they chain to your Charmy or your Roach. So it's just optimal to use it in the standby phase if you have Droll. And if you don't have Droll, you want to also use it in the standby phase so they don't know if you have Droll or not. Because some decks fold harder to Droll than to Maxi or something. So, I mean, it's Purely, you want to use it before they normal summon anyways. So it has to be before main phase. But that's why you should always use them in the standby phase. So we're going to go ahead and Ash the Sarah. Hopefully keep them off as much advantage as possible because I do not want to deal with them doing something really annoying like Floodgate Trap Hole on my pen summon. I would cry a lot. I would cry a lot of tears. So also, this is a slight misplay on my part. I feel like I should have just led with Ostinato and not let them know that I have this follow-up here. Gonna go for the Botcha here. And this is where it gets really funny. I'm only running 1 Melodious Fusion because of like space reasons. And they're gonna bounce this, which means when I continue this line here and activate the effect of Couplet on the field in the pen zone to grab my other fusion spell, because like why wouldn't I, right? I can actually use this again because I have the fusion back in the extra deck. So that's hilarious. Now I get to profit off of all of their effects. I'm going to rescale this SP here. Going to delete the stuff that's annoying to me. And because I can't attack directly, I can't kill him this turn. So I want to keep Sarah on field so I can beat over it, and I don't want it coming back because it gives so much advantage. Yeah, now we just get to resolve all of this stuff. Set up way too much disruption for them, and they surrender. Alrighty, guys, finally here is the deck list. This is slightly outdated on the non-engine because it's a bit older, right? So the 2 Maxi, it was on Lancia because it was Malice format, but essentially we're running a very small spec down super heavy engine. You're gonna see we have the 6 starters here, and we're also running this because it's also a starter, because we're only playing the Soul Gaia booster and none of the other bricks. There's no scales in here. We're not even running the Link in the extra deck. As you can see, we only have Benkei really as our Garnet, and it's a very, very streamlined engine because all we're looking to do is go into King of the Feral Imps, search for Habakiri. And here we're running also a slimmer engine, right? Of course, 3 of the Habakiri as a starter, 3 of the Prayers. Of course, the 1 Ritual, 1 of each of these dudes, and the Night Sword Serpent. Plus the Murakumo, but we're not running the trap. I really don't want to see the trap, and the Prayers already gives us enough interruption because we get to trigger the Murakumo off of it as well. And as you saw, it gave us back both disruptions through the droplets here, and we got to trigger it whenever we wanted to, and not just in order to negate something that our opponent is doing. So I think that has a lot of value as well. Then we're also on the Fiendsmith engine. Normal big package here, and in the extra deck to accommodate this, we're not running Desiree or anything, but we're on a line with Sequence and Lacrima. And as you saw me bridge in, I think the first replay it was, we run the Lina, which is a spellcaster monster here, and then we have a Link monster. Remember, we can send the fusion material monster cards. So that's going to include our Link monster card here that we're going to be equipping to our Lacrima here. So I think that's a very nifty line. For the Zefra stuff, we have a low scale, a high scale. There's a Franu and Zephrath. And then our payoff, of course, is going to be our Divine Strike counter trap. Very strong. This still lets Zephrath be a modular scale here by having both of these targets. We use the Franu to search. I opted to not run the spells, so I have more space in my deck for more power cards, because there is no advantage to having the spells in this list. It's not like in Endymion where we want the spell counters or whatever, right? So kept it like that. And then our Melodious engine gives a ton of advantage off of the Refrain or the Ostinado at the cost of running these 2 bricks. And we're only on 1 Botcha in the extra deck because both of these only need 1 fusion, this one, because this one gives us even more advantage, in order to go into King of the Feral Imps. And as you guys saw, Habakiri does everything for the deck already. So we really just want to find ways to get to this, and then this will get us to everything else. Yeah, and I think that the Caesar is just better than running Desiree here, because we can more consistently make it. We need to run the other stuff, like the Lacrima, to be able to bridge the engines anyways. We have the Cum Giant, all glossy and stuff, glossed up, oozing all over. Yeah, the fun secret effect for the Caesar is really cute. And yeah, it lets you go into Beyond the Pendulum or just grab a low scale, depending on what your game state requires right now. I think that's very cool. And then, of course, we have like an IPSP on our end board, and we have the Abao, which can bring back Murakumo. It can bring back the IP, which is what we normally do in the lines, because we just have a sequence laying around. You gotta do something with the Apo's been banned, right? And the rest of the deck is just filled up with non-engine, right? Stuff that was good in the format, of course. Ash as a Maxi out, and then our own copy of Maxi and the Charmies. I had a slot left over, so I threw in a Perulia. We got the Nibs. Lancia was good back then. Droll. Now you should probably be playing something like Retaliating Sea, which also gives you more rank 4 plays. You can easily pend it out all the time. You're playing probably... I don't know. I think Ghost Bell is pretty good this format, but it's probably not enough for a deck like this. You really want to just see blowouts. But Lancia is no longer a blowout, so we don't run that. Gotta look for some other stuff. But I think we'll be fine with this. Maybe we can somehow slap in some yummies. That could be fun. We'll see if I brew something new for next format. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. and I hope you enjoy playing the deck if you decide to do so. See ya.